Oh dear. I really do appreciate that there are so many people who will just come by and lurk in the stream. I know that there are people about here. There are people about that aren't chatting. And I really do appreciate that you're sticking around and putting up with what I call the mess that I call streaming. What I call the mess that I call streaming. That's a sentence that makes no damn sense. I appreciate that you stick around, even if it's just, you know, having me rambling on in the background. It just means a lot that there are people who take some level of interest in me doing this. Like, I know that there are the handful of people who will show up to most of the streams and will chat and crack jokes with me and everything. But there are also plenty of people, and I'm sure some of them turn up somewhat frequently. I don't know the names because I let the lurkers lurk. But they come, they lurk, and I really do appreciate that. I can totally understand that it's tough to, like, talk to people, not just streamers, but like anyone. I mean, I'm an introvert by nature, and I became a quiet person by nurture. So it's not always easy, like, even with text and just chatting, to put your words out there. And it's not just it's not necessarily like fear of judgment or a person making opinion about you, but it's more just you don't feel that you have anything to add sometimes. Or at least that's what I tell myself when I have that problem. And I have come out of my shell a fair bit over the year, and a bit that I've been on the platform here. I've become more talkative, not just on my streams, but in other people's chats. Even when I'm intending to lurk, I will sometimes just pop in and say stuff, and then go back to lurker mode. And some people, they can't talk because they're listening on their phone while they're off doing something, or they're at work and they've just got it playing in the background. So there are plenty of reasons why people can't talk, and I understand that. And then you go into those channels that have like lots of people there and everyone's chatting, and that is so intimidating. At least for someone like me. It's like the fear of saying something is compounded by the fact that your voice is possibly drowned out, or the other extreme where for some reason you say something and everyone notices. That is kind of scary on a level. I know everyone has different reasons for why they stream. an accumulation of them more so than just any individual singular reason. Like some stream because they want to let other people know about their hobby or their thoughts and opinions. Some stream to inform because they play, or not necessarily play, but like they do creative things that they wish to share. And some people play games because they like to play games. And it's a way to interact with people who have similar opinions. Heck, some people stream so that they can actually meet people who play similar games. I know that's the case somewhere, but I can't recall anyone off the top of my head personally. I have small social circles. Either that or and I hate using this term, but it is accurate, I'm the wallflower in every circle I'm part of. This is something kind of hard to articulate properly, but like, I'm going to sound weird, so I'm prefacing that by I'm trying to make a point that makes sense, and at the same time it's not going to make sense because, well, I'm trying to explain myself. Typically, if I try to explain myself about myself, it makes no sense. Typically, anyway. So, I was a weird kid growing up. Like, I wasn't like anyone around me, and I don't mean like I was a special snowflake, pure and whatever, like the meme. I mean, like, I was weird in the head. I didn't think the same, or at least that's how it felt. I didn't see the world like other kids seem to, and I don't know how to explain it properly. It's like I had some comprehension of things in ways that I shouldn't for someone my age, and at the same time was almost oblivious to the understanding of social norms. And I don't mean like I was gifted or I was special or I was like in the top % of IQ or anything like that. I just mean like I looked at things differently. I thought about them in different ways than what would be the norm. But somehow it made sense, to me at least, that in a weird way sometimes I was close to how things actually worked. Like, I wasn't right all the time. I rarely am right. Or at least, that's what I tell myself. I don't have much of an ego. Never did. But, you know, if you're a weird kid, you get picked on. So, I grew up with bullying. And I sound like I'm about to cry because I'm choking on this hot food. Jeez. It's hot. And I keep putting it more in there. Oh boy. But yeah, I got picked on. So there are a couple of things in amongst that that make me realize that I was a lot more observant as a child than I gave myself credit for. And probably a lot smarter than I actually thought I was. Like, the example that I'll give is like, as I said, English isn't my strong suit. It never was. And one of my problems that we found out early on was I have problem with short-term memory. Now, what I mean by that is that, like, a teacher would write a word on the board, and I wouldn't be able to chunk it properly. I'd have to copy them, look up, letter, copy, look up, next letter, copy. I couldn't group the letters into chunks of sounds and then into words because my short-term memory just wouldn't retain anything at the time. It's gotten better. My long-term memory is pretty decent, but my short-term memory was crap. But because partially the time period that I grew up in and everything, I would fall behind in certain subjects, and so everyone thought that I was dumb, to put it bluntly. So, as you do with a kid that is falling behind and you think might not all be in there or all right in the head, you get them tested. So yeah, I had a mental evaluation when I was in primary school to see if I was like, had screws loose or anything. Did the test, and the professional goes to my mum. No, he's not dumb. He's quite bright. He's just slower than the rest of them. And to top it off, one of the questions, and this is the part that I remember really well, was they asked, how do you think your mind works and talks to your body? Now, I want to remind you that I'm in primary school, early primary school, so I'm like at most 7 years old at this point. We haven't even touched biology. Not really. And so, between a combination of my naivety and some unusual leap in logic, I come up with the answer that my brain is a machine and that mice are running down, up and down my body, sending messages to my body parts inside, which is, weirdly enough, the approximation of the nervous system. It's electro and biochemical signals being traveled down the nerves back and forth from the brain. So, in some weird sense, I did have an understanding how my body actually worked, even though I was completely off the mark. So, I will add, I did have, like, a fascination with small rodents and things during the time, so that may be why I immediately went to mice. But the fact that I understood that there was this informational delay, which was why I used that reasoning, it kind of surprises me when I reflect back on it. But that's the level of weird that I was. I mean, I got picked on most of my way through primary school. It didn't really stop until grade 4, grade 5, which is like your 5th or 6th year of the 7 years of primary school. Because we have prep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That makes up primary school, because that's the Australian system. And then high school or secondary is made up of the remaining grades from 7 to 12. And that's not to say that the bullying didn't start over in high school. It did. For like the first 2 years. Year 9, it pretty much petered out. And then, in some weird turn of events that not even I understand to this day, I somehow became popular. Like, by year 12, I was one of the most well-known students in the school. And I don't think there was anyone that actually had, like, a bone to pick with me or anything. Now, I will note, I'm not a sporty person. I wasn't great academically. I didn't stand out. I didn't try to stand out. And yet, for some reason, and I don't understand why or how, people just liked me. I think in part, it's because I didn't give in to peer pressure and just did whatever the hell I wanted to. Part of it because I'm a reasonably agreeable person and that I don't like to break the flow. That makes no sense, but it's like, you know, if everyone wants to do something in particular, I'm not going to go out of my way to, you know, disrupt or do the opposite. But that doesn't mean that I will participate in things just because everyone else is. I think that's what I mean when I say, like, I don't give in to peer pressure. I do my own thing, and I let other people do theirs. And so I think that's part of the reason I became popular. The other part is likely due to the fact that everyone knew me because I was the only person wearing the damn hat. The hat that was required as part of the school uniform. From year 7 to year 12, I would wear that damn thing all the time. To the point where it just became part of my look. Like, it'd be weird if I didn't have a hat with me. I was literally the only person who was wearing it by the time I left school. Hell, I had multiple hats throughout the years because I just pick up ones that people had left behind as they tried to get rid of them and say, oh, I lost it. It was stolen. I mean, it was just going to get thrown out, so why the hell not? No, I didn't have a head lice problem. Actually, thinking back on that, that's surprising. The fact that I would wear other people's hats and keep them, that I didn't get, like, more cases of head lice. Ah, dear. I hope that, like, I'm not boring the hell out of people in this weird just chatting state that I'm in, but sometimes I like to talk. God, when I'm on my own, I'm weird. I naturally think out loud and have conversations with myself. So, like, when I have an argument, I play my own devil's advocate. It's so weird. At least I feel it is. Particularly if you're an outside observer, it's like, the boy is crazy. Absolutely bonkers. And I did it as a kid as well. I was just constantly off in my own little world. Well, not so much little. Okay, that may need clarification. When I say little or not so little, I'm not referring to myself in any way, shape, or form. I have, not had, because it's still here, a kind of overactive imagination. So, like, I can mentally picture the breakdown of a computer and all its different components and everything that's plugged into it in reasonable detail. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who can do that. I can construct, like, what feels like entire worlds and cultures in my head and just have events play out. And I have no idea if, like, I'm in control of it or not, or whether, like, I just breathe a little life into it and then the existence that I've just come up with kind of takes a life onto its own. At least that's how it feels sometimes. Like, you go to the trouble of trying to understand how a character would think and act. So you put yourself in their shoes, more or less. As you work out, like, traits of them, you try to understand, you know, where did those traits come from? Why do they make those decisions? And, like, you can argue, like, oh, you're making answers to it, rather than saying, oh, this is the reason why. You're saying the reason why is this. Does that even make any sense? I think what I'm trying to do is chicken and the egg argument. Does the trait that the character have exist before the explanation? Mean the explanation came because of the trait that I gave them? Or did the trait exist first? Or the explanation exists first, and the trait came about, and I wasn't fully aware of it? Because I made assumptions? I'm not sure which way it goes. The subconscious or unconscious mind, I use the terms intermittently, because really there is no difference. There is no, like, semi-consciousness that sits between conscious and unconscious. There is only those two. But I refer to it as subconscious because, like, on some level you're aware that it's there, but you just don't think about it or what it does. And it is an amazing thing, like, not only does it, like, keep your body going by, like, regulating your heartbeat and managing, like, all the minutiae of how you would grab a cup or something like that. Do I talk to the screen? Do I talk to the void? Do I talk to chat? I never know. I mean, I already went over the fact that lurkers are fine to lurk. But it's like, my perception of it is all a little warped. It's like on one people, I know there are people there. And I can assume that at least some percentage of them are listening to at least some percentage of what's being said or what's happening. So assuming that, there is a possibility that at least one individual is hearing any words that are being said. But at the same time, I'm here rambling as though I would be talking to myself. I mean, what do I mean? What is meaning? And pause. I mean, meaning. Like, for something to mean something, it means that we're just ascribing it value, a purpose, a function, some point to its existence in some way, even if it's, ironically, meaningless. But we give it such so that we can understand its relevance to everything else. So if something is amorphous and undefined, like the conglomerate consciousness that is a chat. How do we understand what it is? I mean, the individuals that make up chat, if we recognize them, we can know them on a sense, some sort of individual level. But when you have like those really active chats where there's just messages whizzing by, and I've seen them and I can like barely keep up with them myself, just as being an observer where I'm not doing anything other than looking at the chat. It's like, how is it that the chat has become this unanimous mindset that agrees with itself seamlessly? Like, that is kind of scary on a level. It's like, something happens, the chat unanimously says something that is similar or in agreement with itself. It's like it's gained its own consciousness as a collective mindset. Am I crazy? Yes. Yes, I am. Am I onto something? Probably not. But it is an interesting thought. So long as we, consider it being completely hypothetical. It is weird with these long pauses of silence because I'm eating food, but I look at the stream and it's just like, I can't see my face moving. I know I'm not talking. It feels wrong. It feels wrong that I'm not talking, that I'm not doing something. Well, at least that's a good thing. That might not make any sense, but I feel that I should be actively doing something the whole time, or else I'm not adding value to the content. If I'm not commenting, if I'm not making active choices, if I'm just passively there, participating in the game, why would anyone want to watch it? That is a big, big thing if you're wanting to be a content creator, like I wish I was. You need to create content, which means that you can't just take something and claim it as your own. You need to bring something to the table, something new, something different, something revisited, recontextualized. And there are lots of ways of doing that. The easiest one is opinion. Expressing one's own opinion on something, how they feel, what they think of something. And despite first assumptions that we will all make, each and every living individual, both now, before us, and after us, are unique. We don't all think the same. We can't all think the same. Sure, we may come to similar conclusions. We may fall victim to similar biases. We may have heard the same facts and thoughts. But we are individuals. We can't be exact copies of each other. And therefore, we can't think the same. We can't have the exact same opinions. It's not like, how do you put it? It's not like there's only two sides to a situation, like something simple. Do you prefer apples or oranges? It's like, well, maybe you only like one. Maybe you like both. Maybe you like neither. You've already got 4 different stances right there, but some people may like both, yet like one more or the other. Yeah. There's always going to be the third option. But my point is, like, even if you, like, say you like one thing more than the other, well, how much you like it more than the other? That's a scale. How much you like each one individually? That's a scale as well. It's not like they're binary points of information. And that's where all, well, not where all, but what all opinions are. They're scales on how you feel about something. It's not so much a tangible hard fact as it is a reaction to something. I don't know. I'm a talking screen on a screen. Yeah, how's that for dumb? I'm a screen talking to you through a screen. The only way this can get any weirder is if I become a screen inside a screen on the screen. Recursive screens. Yes. You know, Bio, I'm actually recording. So that means that I have a recording of myself as a screen on the screen. Hell, I'm looking at the recording from earlier in the stream, so I could put that up on stream right now, and we would have the stream on screen of screen. God, it's getting ridiculous and out of hand already, and it was just a silly point of how weird this is. I love it. And I want to be clear for anyone who thought like this was high level logic of creating a TV screen to show as an avatar for this period before the proper one is done. No, I just thought it was a good way to communicate because I don't I don't have a real body set up yet. And like the proper VTuber model body, when it's done, I want to kind of have it be a surprise. So I figured, what better way to project the fact that I'm not here than to be talking through a screen. So yeah, I am broadcasting myself on the oh god damn it. And now it's not just screens on screens, it's broadcasts and broadcasts. God damn it. The stupidity never ends. It's just turtles. Turtles all the way down. Again. Yeah, it was. And we should probably start using that time. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't actually counting the time down during that. The whole TV dinner talk. Oh my god, that was an accident of genius. I'm a talking TV and I was having dinner while I did a talking TV dinner talk. God damn it. I probably should in some way. I mean, it's going to be a while before the model is actually done. I went back to the drawing board and made some alterations here and there, mostly because it's like, there were a few things I weren't happy with, particularly how the clothes were sitting. Like fine detail sort of thing. And during it, I decided to experiment. We won't get into that. I mean, I don't feel comfortable wearing a bikini, but at the same time, it's like, I've seen a mankini. That is scary. IRL scene. I know I said that. We embarrassed the hell out of her. Yeah. Like socks. Oh god. There's a story in that, actually. Basically, I'm constantly taking socks on and off because my feet are my biggest regulation of heat. Like, I lose a lot of body heat through my sole. God, that still sounds weird no matter how many times I bring it up. So, like, if it's hot, I will take my socks off first. If it is cold, I need to put socks on. So when I sleep at night, if it is too hot, I will still have like a blanket, a doona on. I will have socks off and my feet sticking at the end.